Throughout our life, we will encounter opponents and obstacles, and it is rather very often that this will occur. It's inevitable, it's part of life, and it's part of the experience, and it's how we grow. Life is, problems after all, at the end of the day. Even if you make retirement money, there's going to be someone out there who's making more money than you. Or it can bring other problems, such as trust amongst your friends or people that come across you and want you for something. You'll be doubting them if it's just for money or is it really just for who I am, or like to genuinely help them, and is the ill intent. And in also getting unnecessary attention from the wrong crowd, whether it be media, whether it be people in the street for the car you have and the money that you have and you're well known. So it impacts a lot of your privacy as well. For the most part, opponents and obstacles are seen as adversarial. Very few of us would volunteer to encounter either if we had a choice. Bruce Lee saw difficult people and circumstances as black and white. Perhaps no surprise given he's so understanding of the yin and yang. Rather than challenges to fight against, they provided opportunities to co-create with. As with the philosophy of neutrality in the previous section, this approach is easy to embrace in theory but hard in practice. The first step is to get to know your opponent or obstacle. It may seem odd to move towards something that is uncomfortable, but conflict is essentially a heightened relationship, and we are always served by understanding its true nature. Ask yourself, why do you consider this person or situation confronting? Are there any common patterns in your past? Have you contributed to this specific occurrence as well? Then use the power of the empty mind from the previous sessions and reflect on what the underlying lesson is. Whenever Lee was down physically, and I mean down bad, where he had a back injury that was going to threaten his career, or even spiritually break him, he would take some quiet time to himself to shake off his judgments and ask why. Why had he lost or failed? Was there a new skill he needed to learn, or an old wound he needed to heal? And this was during his tough times, spiritual or physical challenges. And during his back injury, the doctor said to him that you cannot shoot for the dragon, the Bruce Lee story. You're just not in the condition and it's permanent damage. So he was discouraged not to pursue anything, to give up at that very moment. But what did Bruce Lee do? He didn't listen to any of that. He did some investigation. He was reading, he was reflecting, he had a notepad, he was writing everything. And he was reading so much about back and then about how to recover and how to heal. And eventually, he was able to recover from his back injury. And then he started to train again. But this time he realized that he can't just go back to his regular training. He has to slowly, incrementally get the strength back again. And he did that. He was able to recover his strength, his mobility, and then he was able to shoot for the dragon, the Bruce Lee story. Hence, an action step is to investigate your own experience and ask yourself, what are you being taught or asked to change? Finally, before taking any action, secure the mindset. This is where everyone should start before doing anything. This is a step that most people actually forget, or most people just dismiss and think it's like, it's not really necessary. They want to just start quickly, and what ends up happening is they make no progress because they sabotage themselves. Challenge yourself, because there's going to be moments of fear, there's going to be moments of pessimism, and if you allow them to overpower you, it's going to lead to procrastination. Neither of these are going to actually help overcome what you need to. Even Lee said himself that defeat is only just a state of mind. Don't lose your chances of growth and success by deeming them to be impossible before you even started. Or don't let someone else tell you it's impossible. What do they know? If your belief system is negative in the beginning, then you will only place limits on your potential and your entire life. And Lee would always regularly use affirmations. Even during his back injury, he kept using his affirmations to ensure his mind was helping him rather than hindering him. And journaling was also a very effective tool he had used too. And most people will say, affirmations are so cringe. These people are the same people that make no progress. If you don't have a strong belief system in your mind and in yourself, how will you accomplish anything? Because at the end of the day, all of the things around you that you build, that you own, that you develop are because of the person you are and the person you've realized to be and the person you've developed to become. They're not just randomly placed. So this is something that you have to realize. It's something you have to actually work on. You have to build a strong, positive sense of self and a strong, positive narrative about yourself and developing that. And sometimes it might require you to be selfish. By that I mean you might have to sacrifice some time with your friends, with your family. Sometimes, not all the time, obviously, because your priorities are different. And that's okay. But I think one thing you should keep note of is it's okay to be selfish for selfless reasons. For example, someone wants to become stronger so that they can feel good about themselves. That's not going to keep them going for long, because you can always realize that someone else is going to be stronger than you. But if you're becoming stronger so that you can protect the people that can't protect themselves and protect the people that are around you that you love dearly, that is a justifiable reason for you to be selfish for selfless reasons. You make wealth not just for yourself, but for your family and for people that you want to protect and provide. That is going to be a longer lasting and fulfillment, basically. So that's what I'm trying to emphasize on. And I think the last step is having realization. Comes back to my point again in the previous one, that at the end of the day, we are our greatest opponent and obstacle. It's not the business, it's not the other person. Sure, they might be yapping their mouth and talking bad about you or whatever. But then if you allow that thought to have value and you think about yourself that way as well, then who's your enemy in this case? It's going to be your own mind, right? Because you've allowed that thought to take prominence over the other positive thoughts that you've had. And so we are our own obstacle at the end of the day. And this can be good because unlike others in the world around us, we can focus on becoming the master of ourselves if we choose to, just like Bruce Lee was able to. So this was part 3 of Self Actualization series, where we learned about opponents and obstacles and the inevitability of encountering them and how to also better deal with them. And so if you enjoyed this video, then like and subscribe and stay tuned for the next part.